Hello, everyone. Jason here from Team Flovatar. We're just going to be setting up for a few minutes. Luca and Jacob, we got you both here.
Hey, what's up, Jason?
Hey, not much. How's your Wednesday going?
It's pretty good. I actually just got out of class. Just walked back home, took a shower, and yeah, so doing pretty good. How are you?
Awesome. Any exciting class that it was, or not nothing too exciting?
Oh no, not at all. To be honest, I'm actually like a few weeks away from graduating here, so I'm
Oh,
kind of like checked out a little bit.
yes.
It's the first time I've been to this class in like a few weeks, so I showed up and was like, I don't even know what's going on anymore, but I guess this is part of the deal.
That's awesome. Now, are you doing computer science or is some other major? What are you doing, Jacob?
Yeah. So I am doing computer science. When I came to school, I initially thought I wanted to be an economics major. I just had no idea what I wanted to do, but
Yeah, yeah.
I soon enough just enrolled in the computer science thing and just been doing that for 3 years now and almost
Man,
done.
that's awesome. Yeah, that's one of the things. I did a bachelor's in biology and chemistry, double major. But looking back, now that I'm in tech so much, I really wish I would have done something in engineering, like software engineering or computer science, because I definitely have a passion for it. I mean, everything I've done is like self-taught, but yeah, it's awesome, and especially you're at Northwestern, right?
Yeah, I am at Northwestern. I would say like you'd be surprised. Like I'm not against like CS education. I think the school like does a great job, but you'd be surprised how little like computer science academics like applies to what you do in real life. I mean,
Yeah,
like 90% of the stuff I'm doing anyway is like blockchain. So obviously that's like a special unique case anyway because none of these academia doesn't really cover blockchain right now. It's still so new.
yep,
But even besides that, like a lot of the stuff in school tends to be very theoretical. Whereas
yep.
like a lot of the skills that are required for like actual software development are very self-taught, but it is good for like introducing you to a lot of the concepts and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Hello.
Yeah, I
Sorry, I
hey,
had trouble with my AirPods. I don't know why they're refusing to work, but yeah, I totally support what Jacobs is saying because I have also the same feeling that university has become almost yeah. It's good to give you some basis, some structure, but then you have to learn things by yourself because the things you
yep.
will use they cannot teach them because they are too new. They're yeah, you have to learn along the way.
Yeah, it's very true.
Yeah, when I first started in computer programming, I just did a few boot camps, all
Yep.
self-taught. I learned from senior engineers who were like mentoring me. It was, yeah, and most of them, I asked them, like, what did you learn in your computer science degree? Was it beneficial? And they're like, a little bit, but most of it, yeah, was either self-taught or they learned from mentors or, doing a boot camp or something like that. So,
Totally. Yeah. I can't even stress enough how like impactful those boot camps or those mentorships, like the mentorship. Oh my God, what's the word? Mentorship. Like those things can be. It's so much like getting your hands dirty with actual code is so much more helpful than going to school. And I always say this a lot. Like this is sort of irrelevant, but I always say this a lot with people that are like asking me about how to start coding. And they ask me, they say like, "Oh, I've been watching tutorials on YouTube over and over again." And I even myself, I do a lot of tutorials on YouTube, but I always say to them, listen, like if you want to start learning, like my best piece of advice is to open up VS Code and start writing stuff down, because it's
yep.
the only way to really learn.
Yeah, you can get stuck in the tutorial kind of hell a little bit.
Yeah, totally.
Just watch, not really applying anything. Like that's why I love doing the hackathons and challenges and recommend other people to do that because, and I think you're a big supporter, Jacob, just from what I know about your background, like doing hackathons and things like that, because you start to apply, the things that you're learning, because that's one of the biggest ways to actually under like be sure that what you're learning.
Oh, totally,
Yeah.
totally, yeah. And I'm sure we'll talk a lot about this, like in this AMA. But like a lot of the
Yep.
a lot of the basis for Emerald Academy and like what we're doing with people trying to learn cadence is we're not having them sit in like hours of tutorials and stuff like that. It's completely hands on, and they go at their own pace. They answer little quests, and we just have some workshops twice a week. But I mean, pretty much all of it is self taught.
Yep.
So I'm
That's all.
totally applying that to that as well. Yeah.
That's so cool. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to get your hands dirty to learn. Otherwise, you'll never learn.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, let's go ahead and transition into getting the AMA and interviews started here, guys. So, for everyone tuning in, and then I'll repeat this message as we kind of get going a little bit more. But we're going to be doing a number of like interview questions that I wanted to ask Jacob here from Emerald City. I'll also ask Jacob to kind of introduce Emerald City and what it is to those of you who might not be too familiar with it. But if you've been to any of our events, challenges, things we've been doing recently, we offer floats. So there's a lot of floats connected to what Emerald City's been doing. That's one piece of Emerald City, but Jacob's here with us, so let me do a quick intro, and then Jacob, I'd love it if you can kind of talk a little bit about Emerald City. But so you are the founder of Emerald City, which is actually the first DAO on Flow, launched back in October of 2021. You're actually finishing up here as a student. You just mentioned here a little bit getting started at the AMA, but you're finishing up here in a few weeks at Northwestern. And then you are a smart contract developer for Decentology and also a dev with Dapper Collectives. So thank you so much, Jacob, for being here. Luca, me, everyone on the team on our side, so excited. And I know a bunch of people in the audience are super excited. So yeah, I would love it if you could kind of fill in maybe any gaps there, Jacob, about the intro. And then, yeah, tell us a little bit about a quick kind of summary of what Emerald City is.
Totally. Yeah. Thanks so much, Jason, for that intro. I will say first and foremost that I don't do a lot of these Twitter spaces, and I tend to ramble a lot. If any of you know me, you know that I ramble a lot. So please feel free to just tell me to stop at any point. But yeah, I'll give a brief introduction of myself and Emerald City. I see a lot of Emerald City folks here actually. But yeah, so I'm graduating school in a few weeks here. Going to go full in on the flow side after I graduate. So really excited about that. And yeah, just been developing like on the Cadence side since the summer of 2020 during the Open World Builders Bootcamp, which was actually, I believe, when the Flow team like initially launched Cadence to the world. So did that with BRTech for those of you that know BRTech way back when, and ever since then, just been sort of developing on the Flow side, and then somehow, some way, stumbled into this DAO position in October of 2021. I was in a random office. I was actually hosting, or I was a mentor for a hackathon. Actually, it was a Filecoin hackathon. And BZ, for those of you that know BZ, he's in Emerald City. We were, I was giving him advice on his project, and he said to me, "Well, this is a random question, Jacob, but why are there no DAOs on Flow?" And I was like, "I don't know, BZ. Like, I have never really thought about it. I don't really know anything about DAOs either." But I kind of left at office hours, and I was like, well, that is strange. Like, I wonder why that doesn't exist. And 2 weeks later, we founded the first DAO on Flow, and ever since then, now it's grown into this massive thing that I just never even could have imagined. But to give a brief introduction, Emerald City it's a DAO on Flow. We do a lot of different things, including education and building, and all this stuff we'll jump into. I bet more in this AMA, so I'll stop there so I don't take up too much time.
Yeah, no worries. So, for those of you who aren't too familiar of DAOs, Jacob, can you kind of give like a quick rundown of what a DAO is and why it's really beneficial to people in the community?
Totally, yeah. So DAO stands for Decentralized Autonomous Organization, which is just a really fancy way of saying it's a community-run organization. So it's a bunch of people that come together with a similar goal in mind, and they work towards achieving that goal together. So in our case, it's a bunch of people working to educate people on the Flow community and to build tools for DAOs and projects on the Flow blockchain. A lot of people, which is a misconception, but a lot of people think that DAOs, are required to have a token of some sort, but that's not the case. On Ethereum, for those of you that know a little bit about that background, the Ethereum's a separate blockchain besides Flow. There's a lot of DAOs that have like a token that sort of governs the community, and what that means is that people vote with that token, and people that contribute to the DAO get that token. But right now in Emerald City, we don't even have a token. We're just a bunch of people working to educate and build.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's one of the main reasons why I really like the model and everything you've been building, Jacob, because I come from mostly an Ethereum, Cosmos, and Bitcoin background. So
Mm-hmm.
a little bit of Polygon too. So yeah, it's very unique what you're building. So I love that. So before I get to the next question, I see a bunch of new people who jumped in here. So just as a quick reminder on the format here, we're asking Jacob from Emerald City a number of different questions here about Emerald City, the value that they're providing, how they're building for the community. But then we'll transition into the AMA portion in about 25 minutes here. So if you do want to ask a question, go ahead in the left-hand bottom corner on your mobile device. You will need to be on a mobile device to ask a question. You can request to speak, and I will see that notification and be able to invite you up to the stage. So let's go ahead and jump into the next one, Jacob. So you kind of mentioned, how you got into building the DAO. One of the things I was reading through the case study, actually, that Flow published about you in Emerald City, and they just did, the new one on us. I think this last week. I can't remember the exact date. Uh, It's kind of been a whirlwind, but you talked about like the energy and spirit, of the people on Flow. What do you think on Flow? Well, like what creates this energy and the spirit on Flow, kind of compared to the other blockchains out there?
Yeah, it's a really interesting question. I will say that I actually my background is on the flow side. I feel like it's sort of a unique thing where a lot of people are transitioning from the Ethereum side and compare the two. But I can speak a lot to flow specifically because this is where I sort of like grew up. This is where I got started. I think that flow. What's so interesting to me is that a lot of like the community leaders in the space and even just the community in general love to collaborate between projects. And I think that is the number one reason why the energy is so high on Flow. It's because people from different projects are so interested in each other and they work together to create that energy. And what I mean by that is like even Emerald City and Flovatar. Like I've talked to you guys a lot about your project and love what you're doing there. And we've had people from Genius and Ballers and all these different communities come and talk to us at Emerald City and join each other's AMAs and all this stuff. And it's just really great when people care so much about each other. And I think that also there's certain individuals like yourself, Jason, and you, Luca, and some others here. I see Kelcoin, who's a guild leader at Emerald City, and just a bunch of people that were, and even Snowmobiles is here, who's helping educate people on Flow. There's so many people that are just willing to give back to the community. And honestly, like I wish I had a direct reason for that, but I think it's just the fact that people are just so nice in this space and so willing to give up their free time to help others. And I just think that's just fantastic, and that's why I think the energy is just so amazing.
Yeah, that's so true. That's one of the biggest things I've noticed, just in a lot of the different projects and the community in general. It was kind of funny the other day. I think it was in one of our channels in Discord. Someone was talking about how there's only been a few times that they've seen like a few negative things said about the project, and I'm like, yeah. And some of the other Ethereum projects I've been a part of in the past, it's like every every 5 minutes or something, someone's saying something bad. So I just love that spirit and energy. And then, like you mentioned, the collaboration is really awesome. So I love it. So you mentioned briefly guilds. So talk about the three main guilds in Emerald City. You've got education, building, and governance. So can you kind of unpack that, Jacob?
Exactly, yeah. So we noticed really quickly that we had a lot of different goals in Emerald City. And so in order to sort of handle that load, we separated into three different guilds just to sort of like categorize what we're doing. And so we have an education, we have a building, and a governance guild. And those, like I said, it's mainly just to categorize like all the different stuff that we're building. But it's also cool because it allows people to sort of dive into certain areas that they're interested in. I found that one of the biggest struggles for DAOs is that initial onboarding process, where someone joins the DAO, they have no idea where to go, and they quickly get lost, and the DAO loses that potential piece of contribution that that person is willing to give. And so, in order to help people sort of direct to where they need to be, we separate into these guilds to help people find their place and feel like they can contribute in whatever way possible. So, for example, someone that doesn't really have a strong coding background can come into the guild and be really helpful on the education and governance side, even if they can't contribute so much to the building. So that's sort of why we did that. And a lot of the projects that we do, we sort of put under one of those categories to help people just, think about them separately and not get too confused with all the projects we're doing.
Yeah, that's awesome. I really like that breakdown because you're kind of hitting all the different nails on the head with what a project, needs. They've got to educate the average person on who they are and what you're doing. The like what why your project kind of matters and getting them involved. And then you've got the building people who want to, help build something with the project. And then you've got this idea of governance. How do people in the community, vote and make decisions for the future? So yeah, that's
Hmm.
awesome. So tell me about, let's dive into kind of the specifics of each of them, Jacob. So with education, you've got Emerald Academy, and
Yep.
you do a lot of YouTube content. I'm a huge fan of your YouTube. I'm a proud subscriber. Yeah, tell
Thanks, Jason.
me about those two, the Emerald Academy and your YouTube content that you do.
Yeah, thanks, Jason. Yeah, I mean, regarding the YouTube, so yeah, that's like a personal thing I'm doing that I've seen actually been really helpful for a lot of the folks in Emerald City. I mainly started that YouTube channel because I just realized there was like literally no education on flow, and a lot of the documentation on the flow side was a little behind, and so people really got lost. And so I just wanted to make those tutorials to help people understand, how to build and to help people on the Ethereum side like feel comfortable transitioning to the Cadence world. So that's why I started that one. And so yeah, that's been pretty integral to the Education Guild. And Emerald Academy, we're really proud of because again, like we noticed this humongous like lack of education on Flow, and so we're hoping that Emerald Academy will be this sort of hub for all this sort of education on the flow and cadence side. One of the things that we're actually also doing right now is so I don't know if any for the developers here, if you've heard of Scaffold ETH. That's like a go-to spot for Ethereum development. Developed by Austin Griffith, who's just a really brilliant guy in the Ethereum ecosystem. But anyway, we're building Scaffold Flow actually. We're bringing that to the Flow ecosystem, so that's going to be a part of Emerald Academy, and yeah, that'll be there for developers to learn about how to get started. And I guess the last thing, yeah, like another thing I'll mention here is that right now we have actually a boot camp going on during the month of May, and that's to teach people all about cadence development. We have Snowmobiles here, who actually is an instructor for that, and Snowmobiles participated. I guess the model that we're following is participants of one boot camp the next month can come back if they want and teach it. So it allows people to greater their understanding of the cadence language, but also get paid and have their first sort of position on the in the flow ecosystem to be able to give back and get paid for it. So that's sort
That's
of the model we're following, and a lot of people have loved the cadence learning so far, and yeah, it's been really great.
Yeah, that's amazing. I like that
And
and apprenticeship model. Yeah, Luca.
yeah, sorry to jump in. Also, I talked also with Biartek, and he told me that he actually hired someone that studied at one of those boot camps and participated in the Emerald educational system, and then being so good and participating and doing such a great job, he then eventually got an official position with Find, and yeah, I think that's amazing to give opportunities also of careers, and yeah, it could be a game changer for many people. So congratulations, and I actually might start poaching around for because we're gonna soon need developers. So yeah, please
Totally.
go to Emerald City and then contact us.
Totally, yeah, totally, Luca. This is an interesting fact, but so 25% of the participants that were in the initial boot camp are now working full-time roles in the Flow ecosystem. So it's a really high turnout, and just those people are just super happy now working on Flow.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
Yeah, you and the community are, I mean, that's having an impact there is just amazing on people. I love that. Curious though, if there's any kind of trends with a lot of the content you're putting out there, Jacob, are there any specific aspects of like cadence programming or in the flow side of things that are really sticking out and people are gravitating towards or like searching for? I'm just curious if there's anything that you've started to see on your end on like a trend or like those main things that people are looking for.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, I think like the obvious one is NFTs and marketplaces. Every time I put out a video on YouTube, it gets some views here and there. And then when you put out like a how to build an NFT marketplace, it gets blown out of the water. I think it's just because so many people like, NFTs are just a big craze right now in the Web3 world, as we all know. And yeah, it's just, people really want to start their own. And I think with permissionless deployment coming in mid-June, I think we're going to see, a whole swarm of more NFTs coming, because people are going to be able to, make their own. And so they're looking at these videos, trying to figure out how they can make their own.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was curious on that. That's awesome. So
Yeah.
let's talk about the building guild. So you've got floats. Tell me about that. Obviously, I think most people in the Twitter space here have experienced, claiming a float, for different events, challenges, any kind of participation for different things. So talk about, Jacob, what the floats are and why they matter.
Absolutely, yeah. So, for those of you that have heard of POAP, that's like a participation tracker on Ethereum. The little NFTs, and so we sort of wanted to bring that concept to Flow, but in a much bigger way. So right now, Floats, it's a platform. You can go to it at floats.city. It's a web platform. And you can, if someone sends you a link to an event like this Twitter space, for example, that I'm sure you'll all claim, you can claim a float, which is basically an NFT that marks that you were there. And creators can put like a secret passcode on it, or a time limit, or a max capacity, and make sure that only people that attended that event are actually claiming it. And so it's a great way. It really is like a community building tool, for community leads to be able to know like who is attending their events, and why. And so that's been one thing that's been amazing. And it's now in Blocked Wallet and also on Find, so they're viewable everywhere. Um, and one other thing I'll mention is that we're actually adding a bunch of updates to it, like in the next month or so, where we're gonna allow people to have like event books, or we're gonna allow creators to establish event books, which are almost like achievements on NBA Top Shot, where if you own like a bunch of moments, you get like a reward. Well, we're gonna allow creators to have event books where there's gonna be a bunch of different floats. They don't even have to be yours. Like you could set up. You have to own this Flovatar one and this Find one and this Ballers one, and if they complete it, they get some reward like Flow token or something like that. So that's going to be a feature coming in soon, and we're really excited about that as well.
That's awesome. Yeah, quick.
Ooh,
We will.
can't wait to
Yeah,
use it for Flovatar as well. Yeah, sorry to jumping in because I'm always waiting for new tools to come out, and I want to play with it. So yeah,
Yeah.
as soon as you release it, I think we'll use it for Flovatar as well because we are already a few floats. We had created like more than 10 or a dozen or something. So yeah.
yep,
That's
that's right.
awesome.
Right. Yeah, I was going to say, Luca, that we've got the secret phrase to claim the float that we will mention near the end of the Twitter space. So be sure to stick around so you're able to claim the float. Another question here, Jacob. Is there any like unique use cases that some of the projects are using floats for that you were like, oh, that's pretty interesting, or, pretty innovative?
Yeah, there's actually one that the Genius team actually did that I thought was really cool and interesting. Where so there's groups on the Float platform where you can put a bunch of different like float events under that group. And what they did was they made a quiz where they made 10 different float events, and the secret phrase was the answer to the question. And so what they did was they had people answer 10 questions, and then they used like the Emerald bot in their Discord to verify if someone owned all 10 floats, which means that they answered all 10 questions, and then they gave them like secret access to, or like a pre like minting drop. So I thought that was really unique actually, and that was probably the coolest thing I've seen.
Man, that's awesome. Yeah, very unique.
Yeah.
So talk about Emerald Bot and Emerald ID. So we use Emerald Bot in our own Discord. But yeah, for those who might not be familiar with it, those are two other things that you've developed. So yeah, speak to that a little bit, Jacob.
Yeah, absolutely. So, again, like if some of you have heard of collab.land on the Ethereum side, it verifies your assets. Well, we've been developing Emerald Bot, which is like a flow asset verifier in Discord, where if you have a certain NFT, you can get a role or access to certain channels, and same with fungible tokens as well. And we've included a lot of other utilities, like the ability to, track all the users with a certain role, and easily find out someone's find flows and on-chain address from their Discord name, all that kind of stuff. And so that's been really helpful for communities to just like track and verify like who has access to certain things. And we've also tied it really closely to Float, where we allow people to set up verifiers if someone has a certain float or they have all the floats from a certain group, that kind of stuff as well. And so Emerald ID, which is another term we use, is like the thing powering the bot. It's like the engine behind it. And what it is it's a mapping between your Discord name and your address. So when you click the bot, what's cool is that, with collab.land, for example, every time you go to verify your assets, you have to re-verify over and over again. And not only is that like a security problem, but it's also just really annoying as a user. But with Emerald ID, all you have to do is set up your wallet one time, and then every time you verify, it'll automatically know who you are, and it's all tracked on chain. And so right now, we just support Blockto, but in the next week, we're going to add Lilyco as well. And I believe the week after that, or the next week, we're going to support Dapper Wallet. So lots of different things coming to the ID system.
Man, that's awesome.
I have actually a technical question. Sorry to use the space for something related to Flovatar, because I have this. I use obviously the Emerald bot for verifying the different gangs, tribes that we have, the apes, etc. And one problem that I encountered is that every now and then I might need to re-verify the person if they still have that Flovatar, or if they sold it maybe, or if the situation changed. So in that case, what would be the best approach? To just re-verify, just to make them re-click, or can I
It's a great
run?
question. Yeah, so so it's sort of like a little sneak peek that we've announced in our town hall. We're soon going to be supporting all of NBA Top Shot and UFC Strike. And so part of the requirement for that is to have automatic role removal when someone trades or sells their
Mm.
NFTs. So that feature is going to be coming out. I would love to say in the next few weeks, but it'll more likely be in the next month or two, where we'll be able to automatically remove roles if someone buys or sells their NFTs. So that's coming, and once that's out, the Emerald bot will be pretty much like the engine behind both NBA Top Shot and UFC Strike Discords.
Wow,
No,
that's awesome! Can't wait. One more thing I can't wait to put my hands on. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
I love it. So let's talk about the governance. So, we've got a little bit of time here, Jacob, and I kind of wanted to get into this. So, and I know we were talking back and forth a little bit offline, but you're thinking of creating a reputation system
Yeah.
regarding governance. So, like you kind of briefly mentioned it with Ethereum, other kind of chains. They do the token-based voting. So, what are your thoughts on building this kind of reputation system?
Yeah, it's such a fantastic question. And before I dive into this, like I will fully admit, like I am by no means an expert in any of these, in this topic. So if I say something wrong or something like that, like feel free to call me out, and take my statements with a grain of salt. But with that being said, yeah, like one of the things that I noticed that I just really, really did not like, was fungible token voting in a lot of Ethereum DAOs. And the reason for that was because the incentive structure is so misaligned when people vote. When you think about like who's actually having the power, or who's actually, like making the decisions in a DAO, why is it someone that, has the funds to purchase 50% of the token supply, right? That doesn't really make any sense. And it sort of contributes to this community where people are only really speaking up if they have a lot of tokens, not if they really understand the goals of the DAO. And so, with a system that we're trying to develop, and this is something that is going to take a much longer period of time, but we're trying to develop some sort of reputation system where the people that are voting and the people that are speaking up are the people that are the most committed and understand the goals of the DAO the best. And so what this will sort of come down to is tracking user engagement, on the education, building, and governance side, and also across the Flow ecosystem. So for example, if someone helps develop a Flovatar contract, right, they should get some building reputation. So it doesn't have to be Emerald City specific, and then this will contribute to an overall reputation they have in the Flow ecosystem, and they can vote with that reputation. So instead of voting with tokens, they vote with their reputation. So if someone submits a proposal to develop a new product, we'll put certain weights on building reputation, so that has more say than like education reputation, for example. And similarly, if we're making a decision on an education platform, we'll put more weight on the education reputation than the other two. So that's the idea, and again, that's a pretty significant problem to solve, but that's what we're going to be trying to bring to Flow in the next this year.
That's awesome. Yeah, really appreciate that. That's very, very innovative. I love it.
Thanks,
So
Jason.
awesome. Okay, so let's talk about any kind of sneak peeks, Jacob, like any kind of alpha that you might be able to share with us. What do you have planned for the future with Emerald City? And maybe, I mean, you kind of just mentioned with the NBA Top Shot, UFC Strike, some of the things you're doing there. But what are some of the other kind of unique things behind the scenes that you can share?
Yeah, so I will say I tend to not be a private person. I just say everything we're doing. So yeah, so the NBA Top Shot and UFC Strike thing we're going to be doing, which is really really exciting. In addition, we're also building an entire platform around creating NFT collections. So what that's going to mean is people that don't know any code are going to be able to develop, to make their own artwork, like their generative art, and then they'll be able to go to our platform and upload all their art, and we're going to auto generate a smart contract for them and deploy it for them. So that way, we lower the barrier to entry in the flow space, so anyone can deploy their own NFT collection and also configure it with their own things, like who can mint and how much it costs and stuff like that. So really, really excited about that. In addition, we're also bringing Scaffold ETH to Flow, which I mentioned, and on top of that, we're also building a whitelisting platform for Flow. So that's going to be, if any of you have heard of like pre-mint on the Ethereum side, it's going to be a way for creators to establish their own whitelist and verify that user has certain roles in a Discord, has certain NFTs, has certain fungible tokens, has certain floats, follows certain people on Twitter. So we're going to bring that to Flow as well. And yeah, and then there's one other thing that I'll have to leave until a future time because I can't say
Well, we'll need to have you back then when you're ready to share it.
it. Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Okay, so we're getting close to time here, so I definitely want to transition over into the AMA portion. So, one final question here, Jacob. But before I do, anyone listening here, if you want to ask a question, make sure you're on your mobile device. Go in the bottom left-hand corner and click to request to speak. I will see the notification and invite you up here to be a speaker so that you can ask your question. So go ahead and do that if you want to ask a question. I did see in Discord we had, I think, Guacho who wanted to ask a question. So if you're here, yeah, definitely request to speak and I'll get you added up here. So if not, I'll read off some of the questions as best as I understand them from the Discord. Okay, so Jacob, what are some of the things that Emerald City might be able to do with us at Flovatar in the future? That's one of the kind of selfish questions. We've got Luca here, the founder, the main genius behind. So yeah, would love to know any ideas or things that we could potentially do together.
Absolutely, yeah. From what I understand, and I've spoke to Luca a little bit about this, is that I know that part of the roadmap is to become community oriented and have some DAO tooling in place. So one of the things I also forgot to mention that we're going to be helping Flovatar with is we're building an NFT voting platform. We're going to be
Yeah.
doing that with the Dapper Collectives team. So we're building on chain NFT voting. So this means that people will be able to vote with their Flovatars. So I love this sort of voting, and it's much cooler than like fungible token because people that are in an NFT community, they have the ability to like say, oh, like I'm contributing to this community because I have this NFT, and so we're going to be working a lot with Flovatar to do that. So really excited about that.
Yeah, and super, super happy. And yeah, we had some talks. Can't remember. Times flies a few weeks ago or months ago. I don't know when
Yeah.
it was, but yeah, I like how receptive you are for new ideas, and you hear everyone needs, and you try to help everyone. And I really, really appreciate all the things you're doing because already the Emerald bot and the floats and the voting and all the other things are gonna make my life to build the Flovatar DAO so much easier. Well, actually, I won't have to code anything basically. So you really, yeah, I can concentrate on making Flovatar, and you will definitely help out a lot on the DAO part. And yeah, I think I agree that voting with NFT, the idea is that every single Flovatar should have the right to vote and should be equal, no matter the rarity. So I think that's an important point. Like, imagine being in normal people in a parliament. I think it's right that rich or poor, both everyone has the same vote. And yeah, can't wait to see it working and yeah, start applying on Flovatar.
Exactly, and I'd like to build on top of what you said for a moment, Luca. That like you should be focusing like on Flovatar, not having to worry about a lot of these DAO tooling. That's sort of the idea that Emerald City was founded on is helping projects focus on themselves and allowing them to sort of be able to expand and grow without having to worry about a lack of tooling. So the more we can provide and the more we can build for these communities, the happier we are.
Yeah, and also it helps to have like a standard that can be shared among different projects. That I think, yeah, it's gonna help a lot.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's awesome. All right. So it looks like we don't have any questions here in the Twitter space, but I do have a few coming in from general chat on our Discord. So for those of you, I know that there's another Twitter space AMA going on. If you can't speak and can't ask your question here, feel free to go over to the general channel in our Discord and drop the question. But one of the questions that we have here from King Kong, he says, with Flow, I have a bunch of NFTs across heaps of different wallets, for example, Blockdo, Dapper, Strudy, and others. So could the verification bot link across different wallets?
Fantastic question. And this sort of relates to what I was saying earlier, where the Emerald ID service is going to support LilyCo in the next week and Dapper Wallet sometime this month or early next month. And when that happens, when the user clicks verify, it's going to automatically search all their wallets for them, so they're not going to have to worry about any of that.
Awesome. Yeah, and it looks like Guacha, if you're here, I can invite you up to speak. It looks like you keep going back and forth with, I don't know if you're having technical difficulties on your end. I just invited you up. All right. Welcome. Can you hear me? Testing, testing.
Hey there. Is this working?
Hey.
Yeah? Okay. So I'm not a bot for White Turkey.
Now we have proof.
Yeah. So
the joke from Flowater channel. Sorry.
How are you doing? Well, I never spoke before, so wanted to thank Luca and Jacob for everything they do. I think that they are doing a great job for the Flow community. First and foremost, that. And regarding the questions, I wanted to know, Jacob, how are you going to handle the ID changing in Discord? With the Nitro packs, for example, you can change the number. If that will affect the mapping of the Discord username?
Yeah, thank you so much for the question. And also, yeah, thanks so much for what you said about me and Luca. I don't quite understand the question. I don't think I know a lot about Discord Nitro. Do you mind expanding on that a little bit?
The Discord username has the username hashtag a number. That number,
Yep.
it's a dynamic number that you can change when you pay for Nitro or stuff like that.
Yes.
And that's the mapping.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome question. So yeah, I ran into that problem a few months ago when we first started developing the bot. I was like, oh no, like people can change numbers. But the way that we do it is we don't use that. So Discord's confusing because you have a display name, which is like the name you choose. So like Jacob Tucker, and then you have a username, which is that thing you're talking about, where it's like mine is tsnakejake and then like hashtag 8364. But then there's a third one called an ID, and that's just a bunch of letters and numbers, and that one never changes. So we use the ID to map between your wallet and your Discord ID. So that will never change. Even if you have Discord Nitro, you don't have to worry about that at all.
Oh, that's great. I didn't know we had an ID like a hashtag, a hash number or something like that.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah.
Thank you.
Exactly. Yeah, you're so welcome. Yeah, if you click on your profile, there's like three dots, and if you click on that, it'll say copy ID, and that's your ID right there.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Guacho, for coming up here, and it is great to finally be able to hear your voice. I know we go back and forth in Discord quite a bit, and even for a villain, I think I have a lot of respect.
Is he a villain?
We've got another question here. So JT is living the dream. So mentioned I listened to the Emerald Blockto AMA last week. Roadmap shared was very impressive. A lot of intel packed in that session. How can we in the community better help support Emerald and what you're doing?
Just a fantastic question. I think like the best answer is just to reach out in Emerald City, and I think with the suggestion or advice I always give to people is let us know more about you. What are things you like to do, and what are the things that you're good at? Whether it's graphic design, development, cadence, literally anything. We would love to get you involved in the thousands of different projects we have going on at all the time. There's always room for contribution. So my answer to that is, I love to get to know you more personally and what things you find interesting. And that's the best way to move on from there, so that we can get you working on some amazing stuff.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, thank you for that, Jacob. All right, we've got. So before I get into this next question, just a reminder: anyone who does want to ask a question, just go ahead and in the bottom left-hand corner, click to request to speak, and I will see that, so I can invite you up here if you feel comfortable speaking. Again, if you don't, just head over to the general channel in our Discord and ask a question. So we've got evil evil pecker. So mentions with the development of NFT places and new NFT collections that are coming out, we see more and more scammers appearing. They're for sure they will come on Flow. How are you going to fight them, and how can you protect your customers? I guess all of us.
It's a great question. Sorry, I'm so laughing at the name. I think it's a great name. But yeah, no, that's really great. I actually this leads into a more broader conversation about security on Flow. Actually, so the name's so funny. No, but actually, a couple of days ago, I published a thread on Twitter that was like, how to protect yourselves from permissionless deployment coming out in June. For everyone listening, it's really scary actually that people are going to be able to deploy their own contracts on Flow and potentially exploit like a lot of your collections and stuff like that. And so we as a community need to really be careful about not signing transactions that we're not supposed to, and keeping each other aware of scams. That everyone's been doing a great job of that. So and also one of the things that we've been doing at Emerald City is the Emerald Academy boot camps to teach people about cadence, to protect them from a lot of these really scammy things. Because I promise you this, I can 100% guarantee that come June 15th, there will be so many scams out there. And it's not even a question if it is going to happen. And so it's really important that that everyone doesn't go to websites and signs transactions with cadence code they don't understand. So we're really trying to educate the community and tell them what the transaction code is, and what it's doing, so that people can identify misbehavior in the code and understand what's going wrong. So what, like I said, one of the things we're doing is really, I would really encourage you to check out our academy to better understand this cadence code, so that you don't get completely screwed out of your NFTs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I totally support that. And also, we forgot that we are still in like a walled garden because of the smart contract review, and they made sure all the projects are not scam and things like that. So we are in that's also probably one of the reasons why Flow is different from other blockchains, because there are just good projects right now, but like you said, when they open the gate, everything can come in. And yeah, it's super important to be yeah, to know what you're doing with transactions, and also don't trust transactions that are not that you don't understand or that have not been verified. Because, for example, you can verify the transaction that explains in plain English what they're doing, and they have to be verified by Blockto or Dapper Wallet, whatever. So yeah, those will be much better and more safe than others that it's just code that maybe
Yep.
you don't understand. Yeah.
Exactly. And and just to because I know some people here may not be very technical, and I mentioned, transaction a few times, but a transaction is what you're sort of like clicking when you go to a website and, you click something and that Blockto prompt comes up and you click approve. That's a transaction right there. And, what they'll do is they'll provide a drop down with all the cadence code of what's going to happen when you click approve. And so that right there is what's actually being run. And so, yeah, come June 15th or June 16th, whatever it is, there's going to be a lot of people that try and screw with your collection. So yeah, just stay careful and make sure to only trust supported platforms.
Yep, that's very true. Yeah, thank you for that, Jacob and Luca. All right, we've got a few questions and a lot of activity happening in the general channel, so we'll get to that here. But we've got Lone Star here who wants to ask a question. So, Lone Star, I am inviting you as a speaker. Welcome. Lone Star, are you there? Lone Star, can you hear me?
Twitter Spaces are so glitchy; it's crazy.
I know. All right. Let me know in Discord when you get a chance if you can speak. In the meantime, I'm going to invite
Still,
Wild Turkey up.
yeah. I still remember my very first Twitter space with the first meet when we announced the project, and I didn't know that you have to be on mobile to talk. And for
Yeah.
the first 10 minutes, I was trying to speak on desktop, and why can't they hear me?
Yeah.
All right, Wild Turkey, we've got you up on the stage. Welcome.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep.
Hello.
Hey, what's up, guys? Jacob, how's it going?
Hey, Wild Turkey.
So I have a question because that crafty guardian Jason is he's pretending not to see the question in Discord that everyone wants to know. So our question for you is, when are you minting to become a villain here at Flovatar?
What if I going to become a villain? I don't know. It's a great question. How do I become a villain?
Oh, it's really easy. We will walk you through it. Just don't listen to Jason. Just pop in the Discord and we'll show you.
All right, I won't listen to Jason at all. Screw you, Jason. I'm going with Wild Turkey here, and
Yeah.
I want to become a villain ASAP. Get me in there.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
By the way, do you have a Flovatar? If you don't have, I'm gonna send you a pack right now so you can make one.
Luke,
Because you have to be have a Flovatar and then join either villain or guardian. So,
and Luca is
and
the head
then
villain.
the gangs as well.
Lucas the head villain, and Jason's what, the guardian?
Correct. So you want to
Yeah.
go where Luca goes, not where Jason goes.
Yeah, but maybe I have to even the battlefield here. It seems so unfair.
Oh,
Yes,
no,
you
you don't
didn't
want to do that. You don't want to do that.
win, Jacob.
Yeah, it seems a little unfair here. I might have to go with the guardians. Not gonna lie.
You're
The
all guardian of Flow blockchain, so why not be a guardian in Flovatar?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, we control the headlines here. You don't want to be at the headline of the paper here.
I love that.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't mention that, Jacob. I don't know if you've seen that, but Wild Turkey here actually is
Oh
the
yeah.
executive editor for our FUD News. So he produces the Flovatar, awesome Flovatar newspaper every week that we've got on any updates, very creative, exciting news stories he does. Usually a lot of blame me for different things that happen. So
Wow, you shouldn't have told me that, because now I have to join his side. Or he's gonna write a bad piece about me.
Yeah.
You got it.
that's the power of the press.
Yeah, yeah, literally.
All right. That I had to make sure the Discord question got answered. Thank you.
That's awesome.
Thanks for bringing that up.
All right.
Oh, and Amkler needs his Elmer hat.
No.
I'm gonna ask.
It started like the red balloon. Now we have an Elmer hat. That is gonna be the next thing I have to do.
Yeah, Guacho just said in general chat, I want a screw you Jason flow bit, Luca.
That's
It's
awesome.
too personal.
Yeah. All right. Just another reminder, anyone has any other questions, you can request to speak in the bottom left-hand corner. Let me see if there are any other questions I missed in all of the
I have
bashing.
one while we wait for other questions.
Yep,
Actually,
Luca.
I don't know. It's like a small idea I had recently because we built the get started page to onboard people and to try to get them to buy Flow and to make it easier for them, and because it's easy to get lost in all this crypto world. So we built the get started page that includes the how to get set up with the Blockto wallet, and then also how to buy Flow, especially on all different platforms, MoonPay, Binance, Kraken, etc.
Yep.
So I thought it would be nice to have a centralized place where all the projects can participate to keep it up to date, and then also to point to, if you are a newcomers, go to this site and just you find all the information to get your wallet set up and have some flow in it, and you can start using the project. So I bought the buy-flow.com domain, and unfortunately buyflow.com was taken. But yeah, I extracted that part of the get started page from Flovatar and just put it there. And I actually mentioned it to Jacob that would be nice to have anyone participate on that, and it's connected to a GitHub repository. So if
Yep.
you want to make a pull request, a change, and anything, yeah, and, it would be an interesting thing to keep it up to date, and yeah,
Definitely.
hopefully
Yeah.
we can work on it together.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, yeah, like I was saying, I think, Emerald Academy, we're sort of like going to make it so that it's sort of like the go-to hub for education. So what we'll do is we'll have like a, how-to wallet, tutorial, and we'll link right out to that, so people are aware of it.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Lone Star, I know you can hear me because you're in the general channel. If you want to type out your question, feel free to do that. But I wanted to mention we've got a quiz. Luca, if you want me to mention it now, we can do that. But we've got a quiz in Discord happening after the AMA is concluded. That Rumpel, one of our community reps, is going to be able to run the quiz. I'm trying to remember the name of the channel. Luca, do you remember the name of the channel?
Sorry, no.
I'm trying to
I'm not
pull it
on
up.
my computer.
I was going to ask Ron to speak, but it looks like he might have hopped off. So we'll drop the link and announcement and the general channel just so that we can direct people in the right place. But we're going to give away an awesome prize to the winner. Okay, Guacho. Yeah, it's quiz time. So quiz dash time. Thank you, Guacho, for that. Appreciate it. Okay, and then Luca, do you want to mention the secret phrase for the float?
Yeah, we have a float as usual for AMA, and the secret code for this week is Go Emerald, all lowercase, all together. Go Emerald.
Love that.
So
That's
go
Emerald.
claim it,
Yeah.
and yeah, as soon as we will have the new verifier of counting the floats, expect some rewards as well. We did one actually last time, surprise reward for those that participated. Our last one, we distributed the medal, gold medal, to all those that participated, and yeah, it's fun to make these surprise gifts to reward participation. So yeah, it was
That's
nice.
Awesome.
I love it. Yeah, looked very good, Luca. Everyone on Twitter kept sharing it, and then we had a bunch of people sharing it in Discord too. So, yeah, the link for the float where you can go and claim it is in our announcement channel in Discord. So if you're looking for the link, that's where it is. And without further ado, any other questions? I'll do one final call for more questions. Go ahead and request to come up here or drop your question in general. Let's see. There was one other question I wanted to ask about what Emerald can potentially do in like the metaverses, Jacob. What have you been thinking or wanting to do? Kind of building or expanding into some of the metaverses like Matrix World, and then we've got some place that's been phenomenal at what they're developing. So yeah, I'm just curious if there's anything that you've been doing in that space.
Yeah, we hate someplace, especially Jenna, just one of the worst people in the entire ecosystem. So
I
not
agree. I agree.
no thoughts there. But and no, we love Jenna. But in terms of Matrix World, because we're never doing anything with someplace. We're thinking of having maybe some posters here and there for people that attend floats. Or people that have certain floats, or I don't know, like figuring out some way. This was actually pretty interesting, as we talked a little bit about like how to maybe incorporate some education into the metaverse, like having like quote unquote in person or like in metaverse classrooms where like we teach cadence in certain boot camps. So I don't know, like those are just like some creative ideas we had. But I think floats especially are going to play like the biggest role so far with the things that we're developing.
That's awesome. Yeah, I really appreciate that. All right, and it looks like that is all of the questions we have. By the way, Jenna did mention in our general chat she wants an autograph. So
She wants an autograph. She is a fan. I know she is a fan. I am really cool, so I get it.
Well, Jacob, thank you so much, for taking time to be with us. I'm, so appreciative of all the hard work that you put into Emerald City. You're delivering some incredible value. And then every time I watch, one of your videos, I can just see the authenticity of how you communicate and just how you want to help people come through. So yeah, it's awesome to see the work that you're doing. And I'm just excited about the future of, any kind of collaborations, things that we can do together. So thank
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and thank you so much, Jason and Luca. For everyone listening, that are coming from Emerald City and may not know about Flovatar, I can't express enough how amazing these two are. Especially I've known Luca for a while now, and just the fact that he contributes to education, and especially like this wallet thing he's doing, and just these two always contribute in the broader ecosystem, and do not just care about themselves. So love these two, and thanks so much for allowing me to speak on the space.
Awesome.
Thanks a lot to you. And yeah, I every time I join the Emerald City Discord, I wish I could have more time to spend it here and to chat around. But yeah,
Yeah.
eventually I will do. But yeah, it's awesome to have you and to help us build amazing things. And yeah, I can't thank you enough.
Oh, thank
Thank
you,
you.
Luca.
Awesome. Thank you. A Wild Turkey, you've got your hand up. Something else you want to add?
Yeah, really quick question. I forgot. Hey, Jacob, do you know, I might have missed it. How often do you run these like beginner academy things? Because I know you're in one now, but do you
Yeah,
know when the next one is? Because I know that we've been talking about doing it.
yeah, totally. So we run them every single month. It's the same exact boot camp. So don't stress if you miss any of them. It's the same one. So beginning, I believe the next one's going to start around the first week of June. We don't officially know yet, but sometime I would imagine like June 3rd or 4th, we'll kick the next one off. And that'll be again the same beginner boot camp, and that'll run until the beginning of July.
Are there any like prereqs kind of you recommend, like people who have like zero knowledge to some knowledge, or what kind of like computer, anything like that we're gonna need?
Yeah, so actually, so we made these boot camps so you don't need anything in advance. We teach not only cadence, but we also teach introduction to computer programming. So you don't need anything. That being said, like if you don't know computer science concepts, you will struggle more than those that do. But that's okay, right? That's part of the process. So don't worry about any prerequisites. If you want to get a head start, you can look up like beginner JavaScript tutorials. We find that people who learn JavaScript ahead of time have a better like understanding of computer programming. But again, don't feel stressed to do that, and we'll help you along the way.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome. I love it, Jacob. Yeah, thank you so much. And thank you, Wild Turkey. Appreciate it. All right. One final thing I wanted to mention tomorrow night, I believe, I will drop an announcement for a guest AMA that Luca and myself will be on. Luca, it's going to be a little late for you. So, if you can make it, great. If not, that's fine. Share more information about it in our Discord channel and on Twitter. So very exciting AMA coming up. Luca, any other final things that you wanted to mention?
No, secret code is Go Emerald, all lowercase, and yeah, see you soon.
Awesome. Thank you, Luca. All right. Thank you, Jacob. Thanks, Luca. Thank you, everyone, for questions. And we will catch you in the next Twitter Space event challenge that we're putting on. So thank you again for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
All
Bye-bye.
right. Bye bye.
Bye.